3 times, Stephen Miller sat across from Jake Tapper on CNN and denied ever discussing deportation quotas with ICE field directors. 3 separate denials, clear, categorical, on the record. Then Katie Porter pressed play on an audio file that would destroy every word of it. Subscribe right now, because what you are about to witness is the most devastating use of audio evidence in congressional hearing history. This is Stephen Miller's own voice, captured on official government recording equipment, saying exactly what he told CNN he never said. House Oversight Committee, Room 2154, Thursday morning, 10:47 a.m. Eastern. Katie Porter walked in carrying a silver laptop and a Bluetooth speaker. Journalists in the gallery sat up straighter. They knew Porter's signature move. When she brings props, someone is about to have a very bad day. Miller arrived with 3 attorneys, 2 senior aides, that practiced confidence he always carries. He sat down, adjusted his tie, checked his water glass twice, but never drank. He was more nervous than he looked, but he thought he had prepared for every angle. He had his talking points memorized. He thought he knew exactly which clips they might use against him. He was wrong. The first hour played out as Miller expected. Budget questions, vendor protocols. Miller gave smooth answers, controlled, professional. He even smiled once when a Republican praised his border security work. He was managing the room. He thought this was going well. Then Katie Porter took the microphone. Mr. Miller, let's talk about your CNN interview from the 12th of March. The room shifted. Porter opened her laptop, angled it toward the document camera. A CNN transcript appeared on the monitors. She read slowly, deliberately. Jake Tapper asks you, have you or anyone on your team ever set numerical deportation targets or quotas for ICE field offices? Your answer, Mr. Miller, was this. She paused. Absolutely not. We have never imposed quotas. That is a complete fabrication by critics who want to undermine enforcement operations. We provide policy guidance, not numerical targets. Porter looked up. Do you remember giving that answer, Mr. Miller? Miller leaned forward. I do many media appearances. Congresswoman. I cannot recall. Porter cut him off. I am asking about this specific answer because Jake Tapper pressed you again. He referenced ProPublica reporting about emails discussing monthly deportation numbers, and you responded. She scrolled down. I have never sent an email, made a phone call, or held a meeting where deportation quotas were discussed. Never. That is a false narrative. We focus on enforcement priorities, not arbitrary numbers. End quote. She closed the laptop. So that is denial number 1 and denial number 2, both in the same interview, both categorical, both using the word never. Miller's jaw tightened. Porter pulled up a different window. Then 3 days later, the 15th of March, you appeared on CNN with Dana Bash. She asked about the ProPublica report. You said, I have looked at that reporting. It is inaccurate. I have never discussed numerical targets with ICE leadership. Our approach is priority-based, not quota-based. Never have, never will. Porter set her hands flat on the table 3 times. Mr. Miller, 3 times, you used the word never. Never discussed quotas, never sent emails about numbers, never held meetings about targets. She reached for the Bluetooth speaker. So under oath right now, do you stand by those statements? Have you ever discussed deportation quotas with ICE field directors? Yes or no? Miller's lead attorney started to lean in. Miller held up one hand, stopping him. The attorney sat back. Miller looked directly at Porter. Congresswoman, I stand by my characterization of our policy framework. We have never imposed a quota system in the way that term is typically understood. Our guidance focuses on priority categories and enforcement efficiency, not arbitrary numerical benchmarks. Perfect. Porter said quietly. She pressed a button on her laptop. Then this should be very easy for you to explain. The Bluetooth speaker came to life. There was a brief moment of static, then a voice, crystal clear audio, no distortion. It was Stephen Miller's voice. The date stamp on Porter's screen read the 8th of February, 2024. Location stamp DHS Office of Policy, Conference Room A. The audio played. Someone in the gallery leaned forward. A journalist stopped typing mid-sentence. The room held its breath. Miller's voice from the recording. We need to be clear with the field offices about expectations. I want each region submitting monthly numbers, not suggestions, numbers. How many deportations completed? How many pending? How many in process? And I want to see upward trajectory month over month. If a region is flat or declining, I want to know why. And I want a correction plan. Another voice. Male, older, hesitant. You are talking about quotas. Miller's voice, immediate, sharp. I am talking about accountability metrics. Call it whatever you want, but I need to see numbers increasing. We have a mandate to deliver results. Results are measured in numbers. Each region should be targeting minimum 15% increase quarter over quarter. If they are not hitting that, we need to understand why and fix it. Porter stopped the audio. The room was silent. Miller's face had gone pale. His lead attorney was on his feet, but Porter held up one hand. Wait, there is more. She pressed play again. A different voice, female concerned. If we are setting numerical targets, that raises legal questions about case. By case assessment, Miller's voice, frustrated. We are not setting quotas. We are setting performance expectations. There is a difference. But yes, I expect those expectations reflected in monthly deportation totals. 15% increase is the floor, not the ceiling. Porter stopped it. That is your voice. The 8th of February, 5 weeks before you said on CNN, I have never discussed numerical targets with ICE leadership. Never have, never will. But this shows you setting a specific number, 15% quarterly increase. You called it a floor, not a ceiling. Now I need to stop for just a second. If you believe government officials should not lie on national television, hit that like button and subscribe. Turn on notifications because this audio file is about to get worse. Now back to the hearing room. Miller's attorney found his voice. Mr. Chairman, I object to this characterization. My client was clearly discussing performance metrics and enforcement efficiency, which is entirely different from a quota system. The terminology being used here is deliberately misleading, and Porter did not even look at the attorney. I am not characterizing anything, counselor. I am playing a recording, your client's own words, recorded on official DHS equipment during an official meeting, and those words directly contradict what he said on CNN 3 times. She turned back to Miller. After I received this audio through congressional subpoena, I checked for other recordings. DHS policy requires all senior staff meetings recorded and archived. Federal Records Act. So I subpoenaed all recordings from January through March. That included you. She smiled. 17 recordings, 17 meetings where you discussed monthly deportation numbers, regional performance targets, upward trajectory requirements, quarterly increase expectations. And in 12 of those, you specifically used the phrase 15% increase. She set the document down. When you went on CNN the 12th of March saying you never discussed numerical targets, 17 recorded meetings proved that was false when you said you never sent emails about quotas. We subpoenaed your emails. She pulled out another document, the 22nd of February email from you to 6 ICE regional directors. Subject line, Q1 performance expectations. Body, I quote, each region must demonstrate 15% increase in deportation completions by end of Q1. This is non-negotiable. Submit weekly progress updates showing trajectory toward target. Porter looked up non-negotiable. 15% target. That is from your email, Mr. Miller. Sent 3 weeks before you told America you never sent emails about quotas. A murmur went through the gallery. Journalists were typing frantically. Committee members were leaning toward their aides, whispering. Miller's knuckles had gone white where his hands pressed against the table. That small muscle near his jaw was twitching, visible even from the back rows. His lead attorney scribbled something on a legal pad, underlined it twice, pushed it toward Miller. Miller did not look at it. Porter reached for her laptop again. But the audio recording I really want you to hear is from the 7th of March, 5 days before your first CNN interview. This one is special because in this meeting, someone specifically warns you about using the word quota. And your response is, well, you should just listen. She pressed play. The speaker crackled to life, a voice, uncertain, younger. Mr. Miller, if we are going to do media about enforcement policy, we should probably avoid language that sounds like quotas. The optics are not great, and it gives critics ammunition. Miller's voice, calm, calculated, agreed. If anyone asks, we do not use quotas. We use priority-based enforcement guided by operational efficiency metrics. Do not use the word quota. Do not use the word target. Use performance expectations, enforcement priorities, operational benchmarks. Porter stopped the recording. Let that sit for a moment. The room was silent. She let it build for 5 seconds, then 10. Every camera in the room was locked on Miller's face. The 7th of March, Mr. Miller tells his staff, if anyone asks, do not use the word quota. Use different language. Performance expectations, enforcement priorities. Then 5 days later, the 12th of March, he goes on CNN and uses exactly that language to deny doing exactly what we just heard him doing. That is not semantics. That is scripting a lie. She leaned forward. That is not a misunderstanding, Mr. Miller. That is not a miscommunication. That is a coordinated media strategy to deny something you knew was on tape. The question is, did you forget about the DHS recording requirement, or did you think no one would ever subpoena those files? Miller's hands were pressed flat on the table. Now knuckles white, that small muscle near his jaw twitching involuntarily. His second attorney, a woman in her 50s, stood up. Mr. Chairman, we need to request a brief recess to consult with our client. Denied, the committee chairman's voice was firm. The witness can answer the question. Now Porter gathered her documents. Mr. Chairman, I move to enter into the congressional record the full audio recordings from all 17 meetings, the complete email chain regarding deportation targets, and the transcript of Mr. Miller's 3 CNN appearances where he denied what these recordings prove he did. I further move to refer this matter to the Department of Justice for investigation into potential violations of 18 U.S.C. 1001, false statements, and 18 U.S.C. 1505, obstruction of congressional proceedings. The motion was seconded immediately. The vote was called. It passed unanimously. Miller sat frozen. Porter closed her laptop. Mr. Miller, she said quietly, you had 3 chances to tell the truth. CNN gave you 3 chances. You chose to lie 3 times. And every single time, you knew these recordings existed. That is not a mistake. That is a pattern. The audio files are now public. The emails are now public. And the American people can listen to your voice saying one thing in private, while you say the complete opposite on national television. Within minutes, the internet exploded. Audio clips spreading across social media. News networks playing the contradictions side by side. Miller's CNN denials on split screen with his recorded voice setting the 15% targets. Legal experts analyzing the false statement implications, and somewhere Jake Tapper and Dana Bash were probably wondering how Miller sat across from them and lied so smoothly while knowing the receipts existed. This is not speculation. This is documented fact, audio recordings with metadata verification, emails with federal server timestamps, CNN transcripts that are publicly archived, and 3 categorical denials that are now provably false. Subscribe right now, because tomorrow we break down all 17 meeting recordings and show you every single time Miller said the word quota while telling America he never did. Share this everywhere. Government officials lying on television is not a partisan issue. It is an accountability issue. And Katie Porter just proved that when you bring the receipts, the lies fall apart. Hit that like button, turn on notifications, and let the audio speak for itself. 3 denials, 17 recordings. The truth always has a paper trail, or in this case, an audio trail.